With NASCAR moving itself back to the chase, multiple NASCAR racers are going to be affected, whether it's positively or negatively. And I think we spoke a lot about the positive drivers that will be able to have some positive impact from this change and probably have some more success of it. But what about the ones that it negatively impact? One being SVG that thrived off of win and you're in, especially someone that could dominate in one particular track, which was the road course. SVG finally opens up in response to it. And honestly, I appreciate his transparency to the entire situation. And then Denny Hamlin speaks on what has been just an awful offseason for him. I couldn't imagine what he is going through. And I want to talk about his answers and what we can expect from Hamlin headed into this new season. Let's roll the intro and let's talk about it. So SVG, I would argue, is probably a fan favorite. It's hard to hate the guy. He's got a great accent, has fun, kicks his rugby ball into the stadium when he wins, and he just absolutely just torches the road courses. So there isn't much to watch outside of maybe if he makes a mistake, which is very rare, as he swept the road courses last year. There were some close ones and excitement ones that we had. We felt like there was an opportunity, and it is fun to watch him see to possibly lose. But at the end of the day, it's not a bad time when he does win. So I do love me some SVG. So when asked about the new change to the chase, he was, again, very candid about it. We're going to play a clip here where he talks about it, but mainly saying, like, look, I'm not in this seat if we don't have win and you're in. Obviously, Trackhouse took an advantage, realizing we could find ourselves having multiple playoff cars with the win and you're in system because of how dominant SVG is on the road course. Now, as you all know, he has been atrocious on every other course. Outside of last year, there was a point where I was like, if this guy can all of a sudden just find it clicking, could he be a small, lucrative threat getting further on in the playoffs, not winning the whole thing, right? But having some fun, knocking out some guys that are typically in there just because he has so much success on the road course, and he starts to find a bit of a rhythm, he could knock him out. But here's what he had to say. Take a listen.
The chase format came out. What are your reactions to that and going away from the win and you're in now to the top 16 in points make it in?
I think it kind of needed a change, yeah. But it's hard for me. Like, the reason I'm in the series is because of win and you're in, right? But I feel like I've gotten better at ovals to where I don't have to rely on it. But yeah, it's certainly going to be an achievement to make that top 16, but I think it's a good target for us and something that is achievable. I think it rewards those top guys now, that are always winning, and they were the guys calling for it, I guess. But yeah, for me, that's more of a pure racing championship. So it's probably a good thing in that regard.
Well, and to give yourself some credit too, your oval experience, I mean, it's day and night from when you first jumped into the Cup Series.
That's right.
How do you feel like you've improved and looking into this year, is there more confidence than you've ever had in terms of being able to have success on not road racing tracks?
I think so, and just the knowledge. Like, I'm going to all these places for the second, third, fourth time, and I felt so much more comfortable at the end of last year. And I think I read that we would have been near the top 16 or right in it, and we were 35th or 58th or something in points halfway through the year. It felt like. So we had a really bad start to the year and still made it. So yeah, maybe we can do the same this year. It'd be really cool to start a lot stronger.
Now, it's hard to really tell if Shane's ever having a bad day with any type of Australia or New Zealand with that accent, because everything ends in a high note, right? Like, so everything seems to be positive. They could be telling me that my grandmother's dying, but I wouldn't know that it was bad news because of how it's being delivered. So I think there's a sense of tone that I think he understands that, look, this is probably best for racing. And I feel like everyone is like that. And it's kind of weird. Even when Denny Hamlin kind of spoke about it, he's like, it's going to favor your top 5 drivers. Well, that's what it's supposed to do. It's supposed to reward the guys that are having success and doing it week in and week out. I think the point that Shane was trying to make more so is that we probably wouldn't even know who SVG was if it wasn't for the win and you're in play style, because he wouldn't have had enough success to get in. Although I do disagree with that just because of how successful he was on the road courses last year. I think he still would have found himself in the top 16 by just points alone, even with his atrocious start to the beginning of the season. But again, I think to his main point was like, man, if thankfully I had an opportunity to get my feet wet and learn how to drive these oval tracks, because if not, I probably would never even found a place in this. But I'm very excited for SVG. He's one of my drivers that I have on a list to watch to make a good run in the playoffs, just because of the success that he has had. And I do think he might find himself in a little bit of a hole with Connor Zilic entering into the chat, where he may not be as dominant on the road courses. Now, we said that last year with a few guys. I think Reddit obviously has some success on the road courses, and it still didn't matter. He is a different animal and a different breed when it comes to road courses, and has a way and a feel around it. And that clutch touch is something that is unmatched when it comes to SVG. But I very positive. I think that he'll still have a successful season. Excited to see the growth and progress that he's made. Bubba Wallace is another one that I kind of think of that, again, had a lot of, I would say, all-around success on tracks, but didn't really have somewhere where he dominated. And that was kind of the struggles he had early on in his career. And now we've seen him these last couple of years having success, kind of amplifying what he's always done well, has been mediocre all his courses. Now he's starting to get good at all these racetracks, to where that's where you're starting to see him have success and have more opportunities to win. Last year was a really good year from Bubba, and I think Bubba is going to be able to capitalize that on it as well. So really excited to see what SVG could do. Now, Denny Hamlin, after just the championship, was ripped away from his clutches, which you could just, I think every NASCAR fan, whether you love him or hate him, wife's a big Denny Hamlin fan, so I like to see her happy. It's always good in the house when she's excited. Seeing it get ripped away the way that it did was brutal. I mean, even the guys, even Larson and Byron, who was kind of somewhat responsible for it, felt horrible. The guy's been racing forever. He's a damn dinosaur in the sport, right next to Kyle Busch and Brad Keselowski. And it's like, this guy's one of the greatest drivers of all time, and he just is missing that little lucrative championship to put him into a separate category, right? Although he'll multiple Daytona 500s, multiple wins, you have to have the championship on there. I think we can all agree with that. I think he'll always go down as one of the GOATs, but you got to have a ring, big dog. And as close as he was, man, it was brutal to go down. And then, of course, the awful news of his father that happened in the offseason, passing in a house fire. And we know his relationship with his dad. If you've watched the Netflix series, it's a very fun and loving relationship. So going through it right now. And they asked him some very personal questions on this Fox interview. I'm going to play it for you guys now, and we'll talk about it here.
Just how are you doing?
Okay, as to be expected.
Jordan posted some photos from Molly's birthday celebration. Look like your mom is doing okay.
Yeah, she has good days, bad days, but getting better.
Did you consider not racing after everything that happened?
I mean, I've considered all options. I made a promise to Joe, to Gibbs family.
Do you think it's going to be difficult to race?
I don't think so. I think that, once I get in the swing of it, it'll actually be good, to get back to it. I haven't locked in for the season necessarily quite yet.
And is there anything you want to say to so many people have reached out and said things on social media? I'm curious if is there anything you want to tell people? Or
Well, I try to answer back some. It's impossible to answer back all, but yeah, it's just certainly the NASCAR family's always been a very tight group, and appreciate the condolences and the well wishes and everything from everyone. It certainly does mean a lot.
have you had much time to kind of work with the team at all, or have they pretty much given you kind of time to be?
I mean, today will be my first day back at the shop since November, probably.
Assuming I think it'd be old hat. I mean, it'd be pretty much like you're gonna be ready.
I think
for
so. I think so. I mean, those guys have been working and preparing and whatnot. I'll be obviously a little bit behind, but I feel like I can catch up pretty quickly.
First of all, hell of an interview. Kudos to the guy asking the questions and to Denny Hamlin. It's easy to critique questions because they're hard, but at the same time, you as a reporter know that that's what everybody's wondering. I mean, everything he asked, we're all wanting to know. Where's your head at? How do you feel? And it's not easy to ask those questions, and I'm sure it's not any easier to answer them. So kudos to both guys for powering through and giving us what we wanted. It was interesting to hear him say, I mean, you could see it in his face, you could see it in his eyes, like just empty. Like, I mean, you talk about just getting absolutely kicked in the stomach within a matter of months. It's tough. And to hear him say, like, I'm not really locked in for the season yet, after hearing him talk last year about how much effort he put in the offseason and how much grind he put to get better at courses that he was not good at so he could have the success that he had last year. You kind of almost sense, and you wondered after getting kicked in the stomach the way that he did at the ending last season, would he have that same hunger, that same drive going into this season? And then you throw into the mix the situation that happened with his father. I don't know what's going to happen. because he also knows that Father Time is against him and that his time here on NASCAR is getting shorter and shorter. And I would like to see him success. I have my own guys that I want to have success too. So it's very tough. You know, I see this being one of those seasons where he absolutely just snaps, where you kind of were probably racing pretty tight over the last couple of years because you're forcing yourself to win and you understand that it's a short period of time. And they're almost like you're racing yourself out of certain situations where maybe the wheel will just be free for him this time, because it's like what you have felt, it's like reality sets in. Like there's more important things than maybe just focusing on a championship. And I've got to settle in and allow the race car and race track to come to him. And he's got the natural ability. He's been doing it for so long that I'm not worried about him not, taking off these last couple of months and showing up. Like he's not either. The guy understands his way around the course, and I'm sure that the team's been doing their part to make sure that he's going to be ready. But it'll also be intriguing. He's been kind of like the bad boy and fun to boo for people over the last couple of years. I don't think that's going to happen anywhere he goes. I don't think we're going to get the same swagger of I beat your favorite race car driver. Maybe he will. His dad never liked him saying that. So we might see a different Denny Hamlin this year. I think that I think it's going to be good regardless of how it shakes up. It's kind of one of those, arcs in a character where he was kind of always been the bad boy, and now he might have an arc where he turns into the good guy that everybody is cheering for and hoping to win. Very similar to Earnhardt, right? He was obviously the intimidator. I know NASCAR loved him, but there was a fan base that didn't like him. You had the Gordons that hated him. And by the time he won the Daytona 500, everybody was like, okay, everybody was cheering for him. And whether you hated him or loved him, you wanted him to win it. And I could see this happening for Denny Hamlin going into this season, which it feels like the energy. I mean, it's always the beginning of the year. The Daytona 500 will do it to you. You just fire up for a nice, sexy season. But beyond excited for it. Let me know your thoughts and comments down below about SVG. Do you think he'll have a successful season? Do you think he'll still make the playoffs even with the change of winning you're in? And Denny Hamlin, what is your thoughts on him? Do you think he has just an incredible year and he'll be right in it once again? Or does he take a little bit of a slide back and this could be the beginning to the end, if you will, and kind of more to a farewell tour for Mr. Hamlin? Be sure to smash the like button, subscribe. We're trying to get to 1,000 subs by the end of February, maybe? I don't know. Appreciate y'all. Peace and love, baby.